the idea is not to confront bad ideas, but to come up with good ideas. Otherwise, your enemies define the game, and you are the loyal opposition. And, how many years have we been the loyal opposition? And hasn't it been an unsatisfying experience? So I think every single one of us has immense inner resources, and the psychedelics confirm that. And by inner resources, I mean of intelligence and information and beauty. And I think we would be happier people, and this would be a better world if we spent more time bringing that out rather than opposing somebody else's vision of what is happening. The I Ching says at one point, if evil is directly confronted and named, it perfects weapons to defend itself. It says in any direct confrontation with evil, you show it, you reflect too much of it back upon itself, and it learns to defend itself. And the strategy then is one of stealth, I think. And, beginning at least with, I don't know, it's just an art historical game, but let's say the pre-Raphaelites. There have been these waves of aesthetic and social dissent. I mentioned the pataphysics movement in France in the 1890s, Dada and Surrealism, and the abstract expressionists, and the Beats, and the hippies, and the punks. I mean, these different tones, different adumbrations, but always the same message, which is that satisfaction and completion can't be found within the official culture. And, I came up into that. I was born and raised in an incredibly conventional situation by very loving parents in a pleasant environment. And I just couldn't wait to break their hearts and get away to sin and the big cities and all of that. So the important message to take out of all of this, I think, for people in your position who may or may not wish to grapple with abstract mathematical models of time or trade with naked aboriginals in steaming jungles, what can you take into your own life? It seems to me what the whole thing, the tension between these bohemian countercultural critiques and bourgeois society is about, is what I call the primacy of direct experience. If you are inside a Christian world, or a capitalist world, or a Jewish world, or a Republican world, or a democratic world, these are worlds of ideas. These are ideas. And we can live by ideas, but we can't live by ideas alone. It creates megalomania. It creates unbalance. It creates a grotesque parody of what life is supposed to be about. And what life, I think, is supposed to be about is the reclamation of the primacy of direct experience. And that means sex and psychedelics and dancing and conversation and good eating and lots of exercise and travel and attention to what Wittgenstein called the present at hand. The present at hand, meaning what you can reach, is what's real. And everything else, becomes progressively more hypothetical, more abstract. Anticipating Wittgenstein talking about our reach, William Blake said, "Attend the minute particulars." This was his advice for life. Attend the minute particulars. Well, that's good 18th century prose for pay attention to the details. Keep your eye on the ball. The nexus of mystery and of being and the theater of our drama of redemption is the body. The body. And we have been thoroughly weirded out on the subject of the body because we have been the inheritors of a very complex, head-oriented, abstraction-devoted social system, cultural theory. But we see the consequences of not feeling all around us. I mean, the toxification of the earth, the toleration of overpopulation, and the institutions that promote it is all achieved through a deadening of feeling. If we could feel what we are doing to the earth, to the elderly, to the young, to racial and social minorities, if we could feel the agony of what we do, we would stop doing it. But we have what we call reasons for why it is the way it is. Arguments, theories, blame, it's somebody else's fault, or the poor are always with us, or something else. But these are all evasions of the obligation to create a community based on love and tolerance. Hardly a radical notion, and yet incredibly difficult to bring into existence. And, perhaps the world will transform itself in 2012, and we need have no further concern about all these things. But perhaps not. We need to live our lives in the light of the assumption of an open future, not an absolutely free future, but not a determined future, an open future in which acts of human authentication, acts of human authenticity push forward the universal project of the conservation of novelty. Martin Heidegger, the German metaphysician, the way he got it together was he said what life is for is what he called care for the project of being. Care for the project of being. This is what we are called to. Again, Heidegger's phrase. We are called to care for the project of being. And that means an appreciation of the minute particulars, an appreciation and a recognition of difference, an appreciation and a recognition of our position in the cosmos, which is both insignificant and paradoxically grandiose at the same time. Pascal said, man is a reed bent by the wind, but he is a thinking reed. And that's the paradox of our being, our fragileness in nature, and yet the supernatural grandiosity that we sense in the hallways of our souls. And shamanism is not religion, really. At its fundamental level, it's the science of direct experience.